So today I want to talk a little bit about the 180-degree rule in film. So this rule states that two objects or characters in a scene together should maintain the same left-right relationship of each other. This helps establish and then maintain the direction of the actors in the scene, the screen direction, if you will. So if this is our first guy, and this is our second guy, there's an invisible line between them as they interact. So eventually at some point you're going to have to decide which side of the line that your cameras are going to go on. So if we decide it's going to be on this side, we've got one camera for a wide shot, one camera for each of the characters, so 3 cameras total. They are going to create a 180-degree arc around the action. They cannot cross that line. This is the arc that they must remain in order to maintain that line of action. So this rule helps the audience visually connect with the action on the screen, and when it's broken, it can cause a lot of disorientation for them when they don't understand where they are in a scene, and worst case scenario is going to pull them out of the movie or the short film or whatever it is, and they're no longer going to be focusing on the story. So that this is a little bit clear as far as what you're going to be looking at. This is where this camera is looking, right? This is the side of the face or body or object that that camera is looking at. And this is the side that this other camera is looking at, the side of character B. And then obviously the wide shot is going to get the whole scene. So let's kind of break that down, right? The wide shot, you're going to see character A and character B, and you're going to be seeing, that side of their face, right? So for the for character's A shot, you're only going to be seeing one side of their face, and they're going to be looking right in this direction because that's where character B is. Now for character B, they're going to be on the opposite side of the shot, and they're going to be looking this way towards character A. Or, they're going to mirror what's in that wide shot. Now, if you cross that, right, if you decide you want your camera for character B to be on this side now, that's going to confuse the viewer because no longer, right, is character B going to be looking this way at character A. They're going to be looking the opposite direction. Now we no longer know what they're looking at, and that's very confusing for the viewer. Now, there are a couple of different ways that the 180-degree rule works. Now, the second way is really a line of action, so like when a character is walking. So let's say we have an establishing shot from above, we'll say that it's above, of this character. Above, I'm not a great drawer, let's be honest here. But this character is walking in this direction from this direction, so they're walking this way. As we come in front of them or to the side of them, we need to pick which side we're going to be on, right? So if we decide we're going to be on the left-hand side of the character, right, the character should always be walking from left to right. Now, if we change sides, right, if we decide, okay, we're going to go on the right-hand side of the character, just like before where we didn't really know where they're looking, we don't really know where they're walking anymore because now instead of walking from right to left, they're walking from left to right. They're walking away from, and if we have no indication that they've changed directions, then we no longer know what their purpose is. Now, this can be very beneficial in a situation where the character is confused or lost or doesn't know what they're doing, because that can really help show that emotion, right, to the people in the audience. It really helps elicit that emotional reaction from them where they're really feeling empathetic towards that character. It helps build that emotional intensity. But there is a way to break that, right? So if like before, you know, our character is walking from right to left, what we can do is we can do what's called a neutral shot, right? Where we cut to in front of them, you know, now they're dead in front of us, they're walking towards the camera. And then at that point, then we can cut to a shot of them walking in a different direction. Because now the viewer isn't disoriented, we haven't just changed directions randomly, it's very deliberate. It's showing maybe, you know, they're looking a different way, maybe they've decided to turn in a different direction, and now it makes a lot more sense for them to be doing so on screen. But obviously, these things can get a little bit more complicated when the 180-degree rule is involving multiple subjects. So let's talk a little bit about if we have 3 different characters on screen. I'm gonna get all my markers ready. So if we have character A, character B, and character C. Oh, the pen is dying on me a little bit. Character C. There's going to be multiple lines of action here, right? So let's start with characters A and B. The line of action here is going to be between them, right? When character B is facing character A and character A is facing character B. That's where this line of action is. We'll call this line of action 1. Okay? Now, if character A is now deciding to talk to character C, this becomes the second line of action. So we've got character C is looking at character A, and character A is looking at character C. And now, lastly, if character B is looking at character C, that's going to create line of action 3. Now that's when character B is looking at character C and character C is looking at character B. We're also learning the alphabet today, in case that wasn't clear. So this gets really interesting because there's a 180-degree arc on each one of these, depending on whether or not you're within this circle, right, or outside of it. So let's say, for instance, we decide we're going to have the cameras for the third line of action on the outside, right? So we're going to have our wide angle and our camera for each one of our characters. So this one goes here, this one goes here, this is more clear, as if that's possible, and then we've got the wide shot. Okay, so character A and B, when we're in a wide shot, character B is always going to be on this side, and character C is always going to be on this side. And you know, character B will always be looking this way, and character C will always be looking this way when they're interacting with character B. Now, if we go back to A and B, right? So again, line of action is going to be on the exterior, just because I don't have enough room to write in the middle, right? It's going to flip, right? So now instead, character A is on this side while character B is on this side, depending on, you know, where the camera is. And when character A is looking at character B, they'll be looking this way. But when character B is looking at character A, they're going to be looking this way. So that's obviously, that's different from what the layout was when B was looking at C. And these are the lines of actions that become very complicated to maintain when characters are constantly flipping between the different people that they're interacting with. This is why it's so crucial in those particular instances to maintain that consistency, that the audience knows who's communicating with who and, you know, what direction they're looking in if they're looking at objects instead. Now, there is, with people, multiple people, a way that is pretty easy so that you can flip sides. And it has to follow a certain line of action, obviously. So we're going to go back to our original characters, or different characters, right? We have character A and character B. So we have this line of action. We've established our line of action. We'll put it on this side again. Got our cameras over here, and they'll be following, you know. So in this situation, if character A crosses character B, right? So this person has decided to walk away from character B. They're going to walk in this direction, which follows that same line of action that they've established while looking at character B. Now, of course, character A is on this side of character B. So the line of action has shifted, and now this camera will be filming character A instead of character B. Make sense so far? I hope so. It's a lot of information. Ultimately, though, when you are going to be changing the line of action deliberately and you don't want to cause disorientation in your viewers, you do want to create that kind of neutral shot. This would be a wide shot, a neutral shot that shows the character's movement so it's easier for the audience to track.